Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're doing the Patron guide for the Guild 2 Renaissance. If you want to see any of the other character guides, I'll have a link in the description to the playlist, as well as if you want to see a good opener for any given team, kind of the basics of the game. Now, because the Patron has so many different jobs in this game, much like the Rogue, I'm going to be loading up a save file where I already have everything built, and I kind of go over everything, the advantages and disadvantages and whatnot. So let's do that now. Alright, so we're going to be playing on very slow speed just because I got unlucky in this save file, and it spawned a lot of rogues, and I get bombarded with about 12 protection racket demands a day from all the rogues, so I'm just going to play real slow so we don't get bombarded with that so much. So, the first and probably most popular thing for the Patron is the inn. First level of the inn is right here. It's the public house, then tavern, then inn. And unlike the rogue version of this one you actually make goods in. You can see here, whoa, we have a lot of roast beef built up. Let's put that in sales stock. Basically, we make different kinds of foods and alcohol, and the bread and butter of this is you put it in your sales stock, and people will come in and they'll eat and they'll drink and they'll buy your beer and your porridge and your roast beef and whatnot. You can sell this stuff to the market, but it devalues pretty quickly. The majority of your customers will be coming in kind of in two different waves during the day, and they'll be wanting to eat and drink a whole lot. And you want to give them a good variety of stuff because everything here is targeted at different classes. You can see here wheat beer is at the middle class. We have destitute people, so the lowest class want grain porridge. We can see that prosperous people, the higher class, want roast beef. So having a wide variety of food available means that there's always going to be something that everyone wants. You want to increase the attractiveness of the place. You want to arrange concerts by putting up a fee. Usually for a good place like mine, 200 is all you need. But that'll have bands come and play the place, and that'll attract more attention to your tavern. We can go into the, I believe it's the brew cellar. Let's load that up. Look at a wall. There we go. This is where the cooks are all going to be cooking and everything. And this is just an entirely food-based thing. The patrons are heavily based in food in what they make. They're kind of a low-risk, low-reward version of the craftsman, where instead of selling a few things that are of very high value, you sell a lot of things of low value, but you're less likely to go bankrupt early on. It's a lot safer. However, with a very good patron, if you really set things up properly, you can control the entire means of production very easily. And that means that you can really take control of the market if you manage to strangle everyone else out. So, that's the tavern, or the inn, whatever you want to call it. Draw people in. Give them food. So where are you going to be getting all these grains and this beef and everything? Well, you could buy it from the market, and it's a little expensive, but you would be turning a profit, just a slow one. Or you could get a farm. So farm's got to be outside of the city, of course, because you need a lot of land. I had to buy all these fields and these corrals and everything. But you can see with this farm, it is a building that you upgrade, and you're able to get all kinds of things. You can get beef, leather, wool, wheat, and barley. This is very valuable, because you get a lot of it very, very quickly. If you're wondering about the fish and everything in here, that's not supposed to be there. There's a glitch in my trade routes, where automatically the AI is sending it here from my fishing hut that I'll show you later.
Someone is demanding protection money of you.
It was only a matter of time. No. They're gonna attack my inn. They always attack my inn a few times a day, and the guards take care of it very quickly because they're stupid, and I'm right in the middle of town where the guards are all the time, and they attack it, and the AI is not great. I hear the legacy mod makes the AI a lot better, but hey, comment section. If you want me to do videos on the legacy mod, let me know and I'll look into it. Anyway, the farm is integral to making sure that you don't pay a dime to get your initial resources. You simply pay the wages of the people, they get the barley, the wheat, the wool, the beef, and the leather for you, very, very quickly, I will add. You're never at a shortage as long as you have your trade rights set up right. And then you can turn that into the final good and sell it at a pure profit. You're just paying the wages get paid off almost immediately through this trade line. You're making so much more money out of this because you don't need to buy the resources. You don't need to worry about supply and demand. You don't need to worry about if you buying all this wheat or this barley, if A, it runs out, or B, it becomes very expensive because they're running low on it. And because you're a business who doesn't often sell to the market, you don't need to worry about your own goods being devalued and you having to vary it up for that. You're selling directly to the public, so you don't need to worry about the market prices. That's actually one of the most powerful things.
Someone is demanding protection money of you.
That's one of the most powerful things about the Patron, is that properly set up, you can bypass the market as a whole. You can still use it a little if you want to, but you really have a lot of freedom with when you sell to the market. So you don't feel like you're constantly in this rut of, oh, I want to sell this good to the market, it's my big money-making good, but there's so much of it already in the market between me selling it and other people selling it that it's not going to sell for much money, you know? That kind of problem. Because you're selling it directly to the people. You bypass the fluctuations of the market. And that's a very powerful thing. So you get half the raw resources here from the farm. You get the other half from the orchardist. Now this one does not upgrade. All you get here is honey and fruit. You make your own orchards. You just buy them and place them wherever. They don't take up much room. And you just get honey and fruit. You get a lot of it. This is, it seems less useful entirely because it's a building entirely to get two things. But fruit especially tends to become very expensive, especially if there are a lot of patrons on the map. Because if you don't have many people working orchards, then fruit becomes really expensive because that's how you make your alcohol, and I do believe herbalists use fruit a little bit as well for some perfumes. And you're gonna need to make alcohol if you want to make any kind of beer for people, and you definitely want to serve beer, because if they have a beer...
Someone is demanding protection money of you.
If they have a beer, then they're gonna want to have some food with it. The beer will make them want to buy even more stuff from you. Whereas the honey, that's very valuable in, I believe, mostly the bake shop where you make sweets and desserts. But there is some use of honey outside of that. I do believe that infirmaries use honey a little bit in one of their healing salves. So these two things, it's only 2 items, and you don't need many employees for it. As you can see, I only have 1 guy working there right now, and I have all of this stuff, more than I need for my businesses. But you can always sell to the market if you want to. But you could also not sell it to market, because keep in mind that the more you sell to the market, yeah, you'll make some money, but also make the prices lower for other people who need it. Might be best to hoard that to yourself. Kind of look around the map, see what other AI or other players are playing as, what classes they have, what businesses they own, and see, is it worth starving the market of these resources, or should you get a little bit of extra money for it? The fruit and the honey can be worth a lot, or could be worth very little. You can see here in Ulm right now, it's really not worth that much at the moment. I believe there are some other orchardists that are actually selling to the market quite a bit and devaluing it, but still getting it for free is the best possible price. So having both a farm and an orchard is the best way to keep your inn running without costing anything for raw resources. You can get anything you need. Keep in mind also, craftsmen are going to depend on you too. You do have a few resources here and there, like leather, that craftsmen require, but craftsmen can't make. So you control the means of production for things like leather, and that's very powerful. All right, Mercenary Castle, look alive. Yeah, that's annoying. Luckily on this map, they're not too much of a problem. Anyway, there's one more raw resource type thing. It's not quite raw resource. It's another single level building. You don't upgrade it. It's the windmill. Grain and flour. It grinds up your wheat and your barley into wheat flour and barley flour. That's entirely for baking. I don't believe anything else uses it. Maybe scholars have a small use for it, but it's basically just for a bake shop. It's why I actually recommend you don't make a bake shop right away, because until there's some windmill people selling a lot of flour to the market, flour is very expensive and there's not much of it. So I really recommend you don't start with a bake shop. I recommend you start with either a farm, entirely because it makes very little money on its own, but it's raw resources. You don't need to worry about running out of stuff. It's a slow build, but it's a very, very safe one. Or the smokehouse. This is, I believe it's a fishmonger. It's a fisher shack. There we go. Mine's just upgraded heavily. So this is a unique one, and this is a very high money-making one. The only problem is that it has to be made on the riverside, and that usually means that it's got to be outside the city. And that does mean it's got less protection from the guards. Try and put it near a front door if you can. But I'm in a well-traveled area. I think I'll be okay. I say that, but I get threatened a lot, but I also get threatened in the city. So with this place, the main thing you do here, right off the bat that makes it so valuable, is you make a ship. And if we could just take a look at our ships real quickly. We actually have 2 of them because we're fully upgraded. We can see we have some ships sailing there. On a normal speed, they go a lot faster, don't worry. But they are going downstream to a school of herring. And that's because fried herring is a hell of a moneymaker. So they go down there, they collect it for free for you. They don't need to buy it from the market. You get herring, and you can make fried herring. Fried herring, look at that sale price. You can sell it in the sale stock, you can sell it to the market. Either way, you get it quickly, you just get some people to work out here and slice up and fry the herring, and you sell it to market. Easy money. You got low protection, but good money. That's a pretty common theme you'll find with businesses that can be only operated outside of the city. Great money, but you're not very protected, so you need to be very careful with it. Later, you learn how to make more advanced things like mussel soup, where you can collect mussels and make mussel soup. That's a great money maker. It's for middle-class people. It is worth a ton of money. And hey, if you have a farm, the wheat's free, the mussels are free. Just set up a trade route with your caravans to move things back and forth to where they need to be. And you can make tons of mussel soup for tons of money. It will get devalued quickly, but you can always switch back and forth between that and fried herring. Smoked salmon is generally not worth it, but you never know. You can also get some interesting things like the stink bomb. You throw it into an enemy business, I believe it is, and it'll cause everyone to run out of the business for a little while. It's to halt production in a business for a few hours. It's alright. And pearl necklace, exclusively worn by rich citizens. I believe this is an item where you put it in your inventory and you use it, and temporarily you have the ability wearing an accessory, and everyone who walks by you and sees you for the next few hours will get a large bonus in what they think of you, because they think of you as a wealthy person, which increases your status in the world. Now, one problem you're probably noticing here, you notice I have a lot of trade routes, or rather a lot of caravans outside of all of my businesses. This is unfortunately something that you need to very heavily focus on for a patron. It's probably the most complex thing for a new player for the patron. You're going to really be setting up a lot of trade routes, and I'm going to show you how to do that real quick because I don't know if I've ever showed you before. So we're just going to set up an example one here. It's not actually one we're going to keep or one that's any good. So we clicked on set up a trade route. First, you click on the business you want them to pick the thing up at. So we're going to pick our farm. We want them to load, and we'll just say fried herring for whatever reason, but let's say this is wheat. Let's say we want a trade route to send all of our wheat automatically to our inn so they can make porridge. Let's just say this fried herring is wheat. So we want to load the fried herring. We'll load a large number. And what's the next thing we want to do? Well, we want to go to the next building, and we want to find, on our list, our inn. We're going to left-click it. And what do we want to do when there? We want to unload the fried herring, which is our wheat in this instance. We want to unload all of it. And we want to hit send out. That's all we want to do. We want him to walk over there, or we want him to pick up the good, walk to the other place, unload the good. So we send out, we'll say rarely is like once a day, often is a few times a day, constantly is just nonstop. Keep in mind, these trade routes do cost money at the end of every day, which is why if you go into the negatives at the end of the day, you need to reset up all your trade routes. It's kind of the punishment for setting these up automatically, but the patron is so micromanaging at high levels that this is very much worth the money doing. You'll make a lot of money and it'll be a lot less tedious. You'll be able to walk around and do things. So we're going to say often.
Hurry.
So this person a few times a day now is going to pick up fried herring and take it to the inn. That's not a good trade route, of course, but that's how you do a trade route. Pretend I did that with wheat, and that would have been a very smart trade route. One last thing that I forgot to actually explain in the inn, because I'm stupid, is I have a main character here serving guests. You can see here, serve guests. Exact same way it works as in the Rogue's Tavern, where you just walk around, and it's just so that people buy more things while you're there. He walks around, he serves the guests. I believe charisma is the stat that helps with that, which is why I've been upping it so much. and to just make sure that people are actually buying things here. They'll buy things even if you have no one serving them, but this will attract more customers if they know that they'll actually have someone serving them and taking care of them. You only need one person doing it, and it's a great job for your main character if you want to just kind of leave them to do something for a while, because it's a pretty good trickle of experience. You can see it here, that it's stable experience for little work. Oh, and we got guild fame there. We still the guild master? Yep. Been the guildmaster at Patrons for a while because our patron business has been pretty successful. All right. Next, we have, I believe that we're onto the final business already. Yeah, Pastry Shop, which is, I believe, a bakehouse by default. Bake shop, bakery, pastry shop. So this place is one I wouldn't recommend until you already have at least farm and a windmill, I would say. You really need a lot of raw resources to not spend a ton of money on this. But oh man, the variety of things you can do here. Okay, so this is kind of the craftsman's version of a patron, in that you're making things that are a little bit more valuable. It's safe, you can put it in a city, but you're making kind of artisan goods like thing, using fruit and honey, using all this flour. And it's a mixture between the inn and a more craftsman-like thing, where you can make barley bread. This is your typical, basically grain porridge. You put down your sales stock, destitute people buy it. You have your wheat bread. Now, this actually sells very high for a food, despite only being middle class. You can also sell this to the market, because AI doesn't tend to like bake shops too much, entirely because they're very expensive to run if you don't micromanage it well. Eventually, though, you start to learn how to make the really fancy stuff. You can make cakes. And you can use these as gifts, by the way. That's what the blue glow means, is that it's a usable item. You can use that as a gift to make someone quite happy. But you can also see the sale price on that is ridiculously high, despite being for destitute people. So you can sell this to the common folk. And by the way, it says cake and it's clearly a pie. I believe that the term cake has changed meaning a little bit over the course of our lives. So, cake, pie, whatever you want to call it, is for destitute people, and it's worth a lot of money. It's one of the few things you can sell to the poor, and they're actually willing to buy for a high price, which makes it really fascinating. You have wheat rolls, which is the prosperous person regular food that you can mass produce. I say mass produce, you only make one at a time, but it's out of resources that you'll have a very easy time acquiring by the point you can make this, and that sale price is very, very high. A cream pie sells for an enormous amount, but it's only for the richest citizens. Very few things are targeted at these people, but because of that, there's not much the richest citizens want to buy. If you're cornering the market on cream pies, then the richest people, they're not going to have much to do with the money except buy your cream pies, and you can get incredibly wealthy off that. Lastly, we have sweet meat here. Again, richest citizens worth an enormous amount of money, but it takes a very long time to make these, and actually requires blackberries, which you're probably going to have to get from an herbalist or even buy from the market, because it is not part of the patrons' things they can get. Requires a lot of honey, although that's easy if you have the place for it. Barley flour, that's easy if you have a windmill and a farm. So again, it's hard to set up a successful bake shop. It is high risk if you don't already have these businesses to control the raw resources of it. Let's leave the place because that noise is annoying. However, you can get incredibly wealthy if you have a properly set up arrangement of trade routes sending things to the bake shop. You have a lot of people there. That's another great place to put your main character. If you have the abilities, let me double check the name of them here so I don't mislead you. If you have the abilities motivational artist and leader, and you work in a business like that, that's a powerful combo. Motivational artist means so when you goad your workers, they work even harder than before. And leader makes it so when you goad your workers, they don't like you less for it, because you're kind of like, yelling at them to get to work. You can use that combination to not only get experience, because you can do it once a day, I believe it is, and you get experience for goading your workers, which is always nice, getting some quick experience. But it also makes them work harder for a few hours, which means you'll get a lot more products done in the day. And as you saw with the prices in the pastry shop, every single one product you make can be worth a lot of money to people. So that can be very, very powerful. If you set it up right, that is easily a high money maker in the leagues of something like a craftsman who makes jewelry in terms of wealth, even above the smokehouse, which doesn't have the protection of the city. However, the bake shop is very dangerous in that you need to control the means of production. If you don't control the means of production, or if you aren't really savvy on the market prices and you've really researched things, you could easily go bankrupt and end up having to sell your shop just because you can't do anything with it anymore. You can't afford to keep it in business. So it's a great business venture if you've already made money elsewhere, or if you're confident you're the only bake shop in town and you think you can really do this and there's a lot of flour on the market for you to purchase to get things started. All you really need to get things started is a lot of flour on the market. That's it for the patron, though. Before you go, though, I've done a guide now on all of the main classes. I want you to let me know in the comments section, what do you want me to teach you next? Maybe the next video could be frequently asked questions about the Guild 2 Renaissance, because there's a lot of things the game doesn't teach well. I mean, I'm the top result on this game on YouTube for a reason. It's because I teach people the basics, and the game doesn't really have that great a tutorial. And before you ask, because I don't know if I've brought it up in these videos before, I will be doing the Guild 3 when it comes out. All they've said is it comes out in 2017. And I believe I might even be on the...
Someone is demanding protection money of you.
I believe I might be on the PR list to get the game, which would be very nice. If not, I'll buy it myself. I'll put aside the money for that, because I really do love this series. It's rough around the edges, but I genuinely do really love this series. I've done a playthrough on this. It's a rogue playthrough that's showing a very hands-off strategy. I'll link to that on screen. I do want to do another playthrough of this sometime soon, well before the Guild 3 probably comes out, because I want to show more different play styles. I even want to have a playthrough where I focus very heavily on the social interactions and the government and everything, because that's a big part of this game that you can either choose to not interact with at all, or you can obsess over. And I really want to show a save file where I focus heavily on that and a little bit less on the business side of things, just to show the variety and the depth that this game actually has. If you guys want, I can also show off the Legacy mod. I've read a lot about it, but I've never personally played it, entirely because I haven't downloaded it, just because I want to make sure this playthrough is on the regular version of the game that you would most likely be playing. And, oh, by the way, because Windows 10 has come out over the course of this series of tutorials that have taken me way too long, if you're trying to play this on Windows 10 and you're saying, this game keeps crashing, what do I do? All you have to do is look up the Windows 10 fix for it. I believe all you do is you change one of the Word documents in the folder to make it so it skips the intro cutscene, and that fixes it. So if you look up like how to fix the Guild 2 Renaissance on Windows 10, you'll get a Steam forum post that explains exactly how to disable the intro cutscene, but all you have to do is disable the intro cutscene and it works just fine on Windows 10 again, which is pretty awesome, because I was really worried when I upgraded to Windows 10 and the game wasn't running anymore, but it was a really, really simple fix, completely free, took me maybe 10 minutes at most. It's just it was a normal, use Notepad, go into a .ini folder, add a line of code word for word that it gives you in a document. Anyway, so let me know in the comment section what you would like to see next relating to the Guild 2 Renaissance, because I love this game and I really do want to make it continue to be a part of the show. I'm sorry that this series has taken so incredibly long on teaching you guys all the different classes. It's just, my life has been very turbulent over the last couple years. Again, I've got other videos on my channel if you want to see that. I don't feel like it's got a place here. So, thank you everybody for watching. I'll have playlist on screen of the Rogue playthrough if you want to watch that. I'll have another playlist of another game you might be interested in. Maybe RimWorld or some kind of strategy game or RPG game like that, since if you're into this, maybe you're into that. Until next time, have a nice day.